You are watching video on SEE Class 10 Subject Science. In this video series, we are going to study chapters of Physics, Chemistry, Biology, Astronomy and Geology. This part deals with Physics, chapter Pressure, and this is part 2 of the chapter. Now, in this part, we are going to study working of hydraulic machines. Now, we know hydraulic machines are force multiplier. A small amount of force put into the machine will get multiplied by the machine. So we are going to study two examples of hydraulic machines. These are hydraulic garage lift and hydraulic brake. Now guys, hydraulic garage lift. This is the machine used in lifting up the vehicles in service stations. Okay, vehicles are lifted up so that work can be done on them. So now we'll see the construction of the machine, making of the machine. So machine is basically made up of three metallic cylinders of different diameters. Different diameters means different sizes, and there is a connecting tube, common tube, pistons are there and valves are there. Okay, and lever is fitted on the smallest piston. So this is the construction. Now we'll see this in detail. It is made up of three metallic cylinders of different diameters. 1, 2, 3 cylinders of different sizes. Okay, smallest one is fitted with a piston, smallest piston, and which in turn is fitted with a lever. Now this lever is used to apply force on the machine. The largest one has a piston, largest piston, and on this piston a platform is made. On this platform vehicle is placed. Okay, and the third cylinder is middle size cylinder, which is reservoir. Okay, it is to collect water of this machine. Okay, now these three metallic cylinders are interconnected. These are not separate cylinders, these are interconnected with a common tube, and there are two valves in between the cylinders. So this is valve A, valve B, and these valves open towards only one direction. This is valve A and this is valve B. Now again, largest cylinder and the reservoir, these two are connected with a tube, and this tube has a stopper in the middle. So this is the construction of the machine. Now we'll see the working of the machine. So working of the machine, you see at this part vehicle is placed on the platform. Work to be done is at this place. Now for the work, this vehicle should be lifted up. Now how are you going to lift this up? By applying force on the smallest piston. Okay, so smallest piston has the smallest area, and on this area force will be applied. Okay, when force will be applied on area, pressure will be produced. Okay, P equal to F by A, right? And there is a lever. By using this lever, force will be applied on the smaller area. When large force is applied on a smaller area, large amount of pressure will be produced. It is easier to apply force on a smaller area. That is why smallest cylinder is fitted with the lever. Okay, from smallest cylinder, smallest area, force will be applied because it is easier to apply force on a smaller area, right? So large amount of pressure will be produced at this point, and this pressure will be transmitted to all directions of the liquid according to Pascal's law. Okay, so pressure produced at this point will be carried by water to all parts of the machine, and this machine is filled with water. Okay, so entirely filled with water because we are dealing with liquid pressure. There should be some kind of liquid. It is water. The machine is filled with water. So pressure produced at this point will be transmitted to all the parts of the machine, but when pressure starts traveling from here, this cannot go to this side because these valves open towards only one direction. This valve gets closed by the pressure exerted from this direction. Okay, so at this time this valve is closed. Okay, now the pressure produced at this point will be traveling towards this direction, and this will open the valve. Now the valve is open at this time. This valve is open at this time, right? And now pressure will travel up to this piston. This valve is open now. the pressure will travel up to this point, and large amount of pressure will be applied on this piston, right? And here is a large amount of pressure is produced, same amount of pressure will be acting on this surface area, right? When pressure is there, then the force will be exerted on this area. Pressure will be there when force will be exerted on the area, right? So area is already bigger over here. From the construction only we have understood that this is the largest cylinder and the area is also largest on the piston. Okay, so on this large area, large amount of force is exerted, and because of that large amount of pressure is being applied, right? So anyway, the force is of large amount at this part on this piston. As a result of this large amount of force, the vehicle will get lifted up. Okay, and the work is done. Now after work gets over, this vehicle should be lowered down. Okay, for lowering this water level, this stopper at this point should be opened. Okay, so you have to open this stopper so that water from this tube flows towards this direction, and water will get collected in this reservoir. When water would be flowing towards this direction, this water will open this valve because it is flowing from this direction to this direction, so valve gets open. And here at this point also valve is already open, so water flows to all cylinders equally. Water maintains its own level, and because of that there will be same level of water in all these three pistons. Okay, now when water level will be equal in all three pistons, then next work can be done. After that, next work can be done. So this is the working of hydraulic garage lift. Now the next machine we are going to see is hydraulic brake. This is the braking system in the vehicles. Okay, braking system in the automobiles. When the automobile is in motion, okay, it will come to stop after applying brake. So this is the braking system. So this braking system, hydraulic brake, is mainly made up of a tube. There is a tube, and this tube is filled with brake oil, and at one end of the tube there is a master cylinder which is of a smaller area, and another end of the tube there is slave cylinder which is of larger area. So force is applied from master cylinder which is of a smaller area. It is easier to apply force on a smaller area. That is why force will be applied on master cylinder, and when force is applied on a smaller area, pressure will be produced, and this pressure will be carried to the slave cylinder. Okay, on slave cylinder brake shoes are fitted, and brake shoes are brake shoes are fitted on the inner part of the wheel. So this is the construction. So we are going to see from this diagram. So hydraulic brake is mainly made up of a tube, and the front end of the tube is joined with a master cylinder. Master cylinder has a smaller area, okay, and there is a piston of a smaller area is fitted, and other end of the tube is fitted with a slave cylinder. This slave cylinder is of larger area, so pistons of larger area are fitted on two sides of the slave cylinder, right? So here now slave cylinder is fitted with now a brake shoe. Okay, brake shoe is fitted on two sides of the pistons in a slave cylinder. Okay, and brake shoe is fitted in the inner rim of the wheel of the vehicle. Okay, there is brake shoe in the inner rim of the wheel, right? And inside the brake shoe there is a slave cylinder. The slave cylinder has two pistons on two sides. Okay, from these two pistons force will be exerted. Okay, and it presses against two walls of this brake shoe, right? So the front end of the tube there is a master cylinder. Master cylinder has master piston which is of a smaller area, and this is connected with a pedal, fitted with a pedal in front, and from this pedal force can be applied. Okay, force can be applied from this pedal, brake pedal, and you see the working of the hydraulic brake. Okay, So before we'll go to working, it should be noted that this whole entire machine is this tube. The tube is filled with brake oil. Since we are dealing with liquid pressure, some kind of liquid should be filled in the machine. So that is brake oil in this case, brake oil. Okay, so tube is filled with brake oil, and the same brake oil fills master cylinder as well as slave cylinder, because all these three parts are interconnected. Okay, now we'll see the working. Okay, so the force is applied by using pedal. Okay, and the force will be applied on the smaller piston of master cylinder. When force is applied on a smaller area, large amount of pressure will be produced. Now this pressure will be carried by this brake oil to slave cylinder. Right, slave cylinder has two pistons on two sides. Okay, so when pressure will be carried to these pistons, then force will be exerted on the surface of these two pistons. Okay, so this force presses against the brake shoes on two sides this way. Okay, the force will be applied on brake shoes. Right, so this brake shoe is fitted in the inner rim of the wheel. So this force will be applied on the inner part of the wheel from two sides. Okay, so this force presses against the inner wall of the wheel which is rotating at a faster speed. And when there is force from the inner surface of the wheel, this rotating wheel gets slower and finally it will come to stop. Right, so the force applied from the inner wall of brake shoe will press against the inner wall of the wheel, and that causes the wheel to stop. Okay, rotating wheel to stop. So this is the working of hydraulic brake.